You are here because the outside world rejects you.
I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice.
Come on, let's get nuts.
This guy's got the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
I made a funny.
Come on, Peter Tingle.
Here we go.
What's up? What's up?
I forgot how to do this, Cameo. It's been so long. Welcome to a new 2024 episode of Nerds to Men. I am Brad Reed. This is
Wolverine. Just kidding, it's Cameo.
Did you get that at the movie when you went and saw the movie?
Yes, I did. They had Wolverine head, Deadpool head. I know some theaters had spoilers, baby pool.
Yeah.
In a car seat.
And who is the floating pool there? Like, I know he was in the movie, spoilers, but
Head pool.
head pool. Oh,
Yeah.
head pool.
And this little thing, spins too.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
What theater did you go to?
I went to AMC.
They got it nice there. I saw the first one. I've seen it twice now, and we'll do like a full spoiler review
Yes.
here in just a minute. But I saw the first one at Tinseltown, which I haven't gone to Tinseltown in a long time, but like their prices are amazing for tickets.
Okay.
They're like $10 and under usually, and the seats are just as good as like, you know how like Penn Square has like the nice like leather seats that lean back.
Yeah.
That's what Tinseltown has.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I saw it again at Regal, because like on Tuesdays at Regal they have a deal too, to where it's under $10 on Tuesdays.
Oh, nice.
So I've been frugal, because I'm no longer shackled by the chains of marriage. So I had to, spend my money wisely right now. I don't have that extra income.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Shoot, I need to do that now. No, hell, okay.
She in the next room, so she probably up against the door listening.
I know. She's like, what's this fool saying?
Yeah, talking crazy. Now that he's got a single friend.
Right? Brad, we can't hang out. This is our last podcast.
Dang, our first and last of the year. But what I think is kind of funny, well, not funny, but Deadpool and Wolverine brought us back to the podcast. We've been, you've been keeping up with the Facebook page and stuff and posting news bits and Instagram, Facebook. We don't really do a whole lot on Twitter. I get on there to look at political news more than anything now. I'm like, I'll start to comment. I'll be like, oh, wait, this is from a Nerdz page. They aren't going to hear what I'm saying. But, yeah. It's weird to do it like we're doing it too, because like I can't hear myself, and
I know, it's weird. It's weird.
But I got it under control.
Yeah.
So yeah. Here's the thing, like what I was gonna say, there just hadn't been a whole lot of stuff that I've been wanting to either watch or talk about.
And you're right, there really hasn't been. With all of the changes that Marvel and DC have gone through. We won't get into that, but it's they're cutting back on certain things and not releasing as much as they have been, which is good.
Yeah.
Because me being a huge nerd, I'm getting superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh sweet, Spider-Man No Way Home at the end of last year. It's like, yeah, sweet. Then, there were some other movies that came out. I was like,
yeah,
it is what it is. But,
well, like, Madam Web came out. What was the Marvel one? The Marvels?
oh yeah.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that one. I heard it's not too bad.
It's not bad. It's just, I don't know. I kind of felt like that one, The Marvels, was a straight to DVD type of movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't as grandiose as most Marvel movies usually are.
Right.
So there's that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what may have come out that we didn't review. Ant-Man? Did we do an Ant-Man review?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I liked it, but... And then, like, Acolyte came out, and I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, it was it was something. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Acolyte, it wasn't bad per se. It just, you know, when you think of Jedi and Sith, you feel like it should be bigger and badder, you know, all of this stuff. And it really wasn't. It was just almost kind of like a filler.
Right.
A whole season of filler. That's kind of what it was. Cool fight scenes. I want to say at the beginning, and then I think it was like the first or the second episode, and then the last episode. So
Right.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, the Crisis on Infinite Earth movies. Everybody seems to be enjoying those movies. I think there's 2 out right now, and another
all 3 are out.
Oh, all 3?
Yeah. Two of them are out on HBO Max.
Uh-huh.
The third one hasn't came out on there yet, but it is on digital, and I don't know if it's on DVD, Blu-ray, or whatever.
I watched the first movie of that, but I don't know, man. I just wasn't that into it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I've been really watching a lot of different movies lately.
Yeah.
That aren't anything comic book related.
You know, shoot. I mean, me and my wife, we've done the same thing. We're actually trying to put something together, so because I mean, we watch movies all the time, and it's just like, oh, well, you know, maybe we should start reviewing some.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, we might have to change that up too for us as well, because there has been a lot of good movies that haven't been comic book related that, you know, that I've caught on HBO Max or Netflix or something like that. Shoot, me and the wife watched Hide and Seek.
Oh yeah.
I think it was last night.
Yeah.
With, Dakota Fanning, my first crush, Elizabeth Shue.
Oh yeah.
Robert De Niro's in it.
Is this from the Karate Kid days? Is that where she was in?
Well, yes and no. I was crushing on her when Adventures in Babysitting came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
I wish she babysit me.
Yeah, right? No, but yeah, that movie was pretty good. I mean, it's early 2000s movie, because Dakota Fanning was like 8, 9, 10 maybe.
Right.
So, yeah.
Godzilla -1. That was a great movie. I loved it. The Godzilla minus color, both versions now are on Netflix, and I haven't even watched the colorized version, but the minus color, the black and white.
You know,
I love
black and white movies, because Logan black and white. Did you watch that?
No.
Oh, bro, you got to watch that in black.
Oh, you're right. I do.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh,
it just took it back to, for me anyway, it took it back to like the first Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, like that first Godzilla movie, it was emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you know, there's all kinds of emotions, but it didn't get silly like some of the movies later. Because, you know, by the time I watched Godzilla movies, it was Godzilla versus Mothra or whoever it was, and you know, it was just over the top. But like that first one, and then you look back, you know, of course, the history of why they made that movie, and its, you know, its ties to like the atomic bomb and the what the Japanese people had to go through afterwards, and it touched a lot more on that, where those later movies didn't. So when I went back and watched the original Godzilla, then I watched -1, I was like,
you know what you need to watch, because it almost kind of goes back to what you're talking about, Shin Godzilla.
I did see that one.
Oh, okay.
Shin Godzilla is a great one too.
Oh my God. It was kind of like, I will say Shin Godzilla was very weird, because it's not the normal Godzilla that you're used to, at least at the beginning. Because, yeah, when he was going through his stages of growth, it was kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's scary.
I think I like the Japanese versions of Godzilla much more than I like the American versions. Because like there was the one, like back in the 90s, everybody hated the Matthew Broderick one. I didn't hate it back then, but it was just kind of a souped up rock and roll version of Godzilla.
Right. With Jurassic World, Jurassic Park mixed into it.
And then the one with Aaron Taylor Johnson.
That one was good.
It was a good one, yeah. But I like I said, I prefer the Japanese version.
I still find it weird that they played brother and sister, Aaron Taylor Johnson and oh my goodness, not Mary Kate.
Oh yeah. Elizabeth
Olsen were brother and sister in the Avengers Age of Ultron, and then they go to this movie and they're husband and wife.
Yeah.
Gross.
That's why maybe Elizabeth, by the time they got to her TV show, what was it called? The one where they pulled Evan Peters on us and he was...
WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision. Maybe she was like, let's get rid of Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
I was his sister, then I was his wife, and I'm not going back to being his sister.
Yeah.
But that's a really good example of one of the things, not many, that I thought 20th Century Fox kind of did better than, because the MCU version, I liked him, but then they killed him right away, Quicksilver, that is.
Yeah.
And then Evan Peters' Quicksilver, I thought it was dope.
Yeah, I think, they did him justice.
Yeah.
Fox did him justice on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get into a little bit of news before we talk about our review.
Okay.
Which, by the way, Cape Crusader, the new Batman show, just came out on Amazon Prime.
August 1st, yep.
So I watched one episode of that. It was okay. They did change the penguin into Oswalda Cobblepot. And I watched the episode kind of like with an open mind. I mean, originally when I saw the news, I was like, why? And when I watched it, I was like, still like, why?
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know, a not necessary change, in my opinion. But it didn't ruin anything. It wasn't like, I don't like it because of that. But overall with the show, so far after one episode, it's okay. I don't know. It didn't grab me like the animated series did back in the day. And maybe that's because I'm 45 and not 15, but,
Yeah, I will say, I think I'm 2.5 episodes deep, and I really enjoy it. It's not, by no means, the animated series, and I don't care how old you are. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I think the Batman animated series is probably the best superhero comic book animated series ever. So
yeah. Well, X-Men.
I don't know, man.
That 90s X-Men is why I even know any of like the X-Men or anything.
Well, true. I mean, shoot, Batman is the only reason, or that show was the only reason why I like Batman.
I was already into Batman, but I didn't get many comic books when I was young because I lived out in the country, and so I didn't even know there were comic book stores. I probably said this before. Like, I would just go, and when we'd go to the grocery store, I'd go over to the magazine section, and there'd be comic books there, which I don't think they do that anymore either.
I don't think so either.
I haven't seen a comic book. I haven't seen a magazine rack in a long time, just to be honest. Because I remember like Crest used to have like a big one.
Yeah, they did.
And so I didn't even know comic book stores even existed back then. But it was the shows like The Hulk and Wonder Woman. And see, back then I didn't know there was a DC or a Marvel,
Right, yeah.
So I wasn't, growing up, I was more into Batman than anything as far as reading a comic book, but I wasn't like, hey, I'm a Marvel guy or a DC guy till later.
Yeah.
And then I realized most of my favorites were Batman and stuff. But like I say, the X-Men cartoon, I think the animated series, Batman, the animated series, and the X-Men back in the day.
Yeah,
a lot of people love Spider-Man too.
Yeah, Spider-Man was at the top of the list as well.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I don't have a strong recommendation to watch it just yet, but I'll check out more.
Okay.
But you said you're a couple episodes in.
Yeah, I like it so far. I will say Clayface is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now again, this is the first season, so who knows what they're going to do with these characters later on. Because they're not Marvel and killing them off, right?
Right.
After the first appearance. But yeah, I'm at the episode where we finally meet Catwoman.
Is it Catman now?
No. Although I was figuring, I was like, I wonder if Catwoman is going to be Catman now.
Yeah. That'd be funny. Yeah, like I said before, the real reason that I just wasn't like all that into this idea of Oswalda Cobblepot was Batman does have a pretty nice rogue gallery. That's what I always liked about Batman, was his villains were just as important as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's one thing I've always not liked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is a lot of times the villains are just kind of disposable.
Mm-hmm.
Thanos wasn't, of course, but, you know, and we've mentioned too that some of the villains that they're announcing going forward, we're hoping kind of, fix that problem. And so let's go ahead and get into that nerd update where the weekend that we were going to see Deadpool, and we had talked about we're going to do this Deadpool Wolverine show just because, you know, we're so excited finally. Then we get this news, Robert Downey Jr. is back.
Yep, San Diego Comic-Con. Kevin Feige announced that RDJ is back. And we all kind of figured, or at least I did, that he was going to come back in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he would come back as a villain, one of the main baddies. And, I want to kind of talk about that with Jonathan Majors. But before all of that, I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring, because at San Diego Comic-Con, he said different mask, same task.
Yeah.
So, what does that, mean? Same task. Like, I know Dr. Doom wants to control the world. Is that what he means when it's the same task when, Iron Man was trying to protect the world? What does that mean?
To me, I think it meant, he's just a dude playing a dude dressed up as a dude.
Oh,
No,
possibly.
No, what I think it meant was, same task. The task is he's playing a different character, but he's there to entertain you. He's there to make the best movies possible.
Okay.
I don't know. My thing is, because a lot of people have said, well, how's this going to work?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good question, but I'm also like, people said that about Logan and the Deadpool and Wolverine, because, spoilers, Logan dies in Logan. And, people were like, well, how are they going to bring him back? And I was like, multiverse. Like, they will multiverse everyone back to life.
Every single one.
And they'll be happy to do it till they're 90.
Exactly.
But no, but there's some other things too where, like with this, because he's playing a different character, and it's not gonna be like, Chris Evans, who played a Fantastic Four member and then Captain America, or we mentioned Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
He played Thanos and Cable.
Yeah.
But of course that was for it was a Marvel character, but two different companies at the time, right?
Yeah.
But I've also read, and I don't want to be misquoted here because I haven't read the comic book, but I have heard that there is a situation where Victor Doom takes over Iron Man's mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so that could very well be what happens, where he takes over Tony Stark and, from a different timeline or something, and uses that, because think about when Spider-Man goes to fight Dr. Doom, and he takes his mask off looking like Tony Stark.
Right.
I think every single one of the Avengers is going to have to do a double take.
Right. And
that's kind of where I'm at with how that could happen. Or it's just, like with you mentioned Kang, and in the Ant-Man movie, you got to see all the different versions of Kang, and they all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
But in Loki, all the different versions of Loki weren't all people who looked just like Loki.
Right.
So it'd be weird that this time it looks like Robert Downey Jr., but then again, I mean, you kind of have to stop. You kind of have to actually just suspend your belief on some things.
Well, and you also got to realize too that this is fantasy.
Right.
So, back like what you were saying, how Loki, in the Loki series, there was a female version of Loki, Sylvie. There was, a kid version. There was an older version, which was the original, how Loki looked originally when he was first created. And, there was a Hulk version of Loki, but
there was an alligator version.
Yeah. So, again, it's fantasy, and, it trips me out because, fans of comics, just because, in the comic books, they'll make everybody look the same in a different multiverse, unless they're a different nationality or something. But when it comes to like real life, everybody's like, how are they going to do this? Just enjoy what you're going to see.
Right.
Just watch it for what it is. And, just like you said, this could be just a variant of Victor Von Doom, or this could be, some Doom took over Iron Man's body, which, I guess, I think in the comics, he's called the infamous Iron Man. And he has Iron Man's suit. So this could be a thing to where, he comes over to the MCU and tricks everybody, gets Iron Man's stuff, and then tries to take over the world. And I feel like if that does happen, I feel like this is going to trip out, Peter Parker, because everybody doesn't know who he is, or nobody knows who he is anymore. But he knows who people are. And so when he fights against, if that ever happens, which I'm going to assume it will because of Secret Wars.
Because just it's going to be, what was the name of the first one? Doomsday. And then Secret Wars. So Robert Downey Jr. is in for 2 different movies.
Yeah. So, and hopefully we'll get him in the Fantastic Four at some point.
He's
90. Yeah, I posted a meme on our social media. You need to go check that out. But oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, well, I hope we get him in Fantastic Four, at an end credit scene or something, which Kevin Feige would be ridiculous if he did not, tease that, since he teased it at San Diego Comic-Con.
Right.
But, they know what they're doing. I'm just sitting back here for the ride, because who would have thought, I'm 38. Who would have thought, we would be getting these movies from page to the big screen.
And some people say, well, it's just a cheap ploy. Maybe, but I'm down for it. I'm in for it.
And again, you're not the company. So, we didn't think, what's his name? Hugh Jackman would do a good Logan. We didn't think that after Chris Evans' portrayal of Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, that he could be Captain America.
Yeah.
We didn't think Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
We didn't think they'd be good Spider-Men, and look at them.
Right.
They're probably, they're only, I think there's 4 or 5 different Spider-Man people, but those are the top 3. So, it is what it is. Marvel hasn't really made a horrible decision. But we'll see. Just sit back and enjoy the ride.
And just for what it's worth, and then we're going to get into our review. Jonathan Majors and Kang, who they kind of had to scrap and replace Robert Downey Jr. with, as the new bad guy that's going to go across different movies. I hope they come back to Jonathan Majors at some point, because, he made a good point too. He said, Robert Downey Jr., and some of the things are a little different. Robert Downey Jr. had his issues back in the day, with substance abuse and stuff like that. Ezra Miller had his things, and turned off a lot of people from wanting to watch the movies he was in. And I think that I'm not for whatever Jonathan Majors allegedly did, but I would like to see him actually get another shot at Kang at some point.
I'm hoping that he does. Because again, I understand you got to protect your brand. And it might be a couple years before he's able to come back.
Yeah.
He might, Kevin Feige, I believe, is a fair person. And I'm not saying that because of Robert Downey Jr., but the whole issue with James Gunn.
Right.
They kicked him off before, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 came out, or before it started production and filming and all that. So, and, James Gunn said some pretty off-the-wall stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, even though that happened, years before before his, I wouldn't say his blow up, but I would say before he became a I don't know, because he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
But I would say super popular when he did Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
And I think, a lot of people will say it's different because, that was a lot of stuff he said back in the day. And Jonathan Majors, was
this happened like a year ago.
Accused of, some domestic violence kind of things. And I think that's where people sometimes will say, well, that's worse. And I'm like, yeah, it's not good. But also, we don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
At least I don't. Maybe there's more that's come out since all that happened that said that he definitely did this and this, but I've never heard all that.
No.
And so, like I say, I think people should have a chance to earn redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't earn it, then whatever. Maybe he doesn't get another shot, but.
Yeah, and again, he might, after, a couple years, maybe it's 3, 4, 5 years down the road to where he, comes back or doesn't come back. I mean, if he doesn't come back, I don't think he should be playing Kang.
Right.
I think that's, dead in the water, need to do something else.
Sure.
So that's my take on it. But, again, I kind of hope he does come back. But, if he doesn't, I feel like it would be his choice. I'm like, nah,
yeah,
I don't want to be held down to this.
I can see him not wanting to do that again.
Yeah.